Hello everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Through the Ages. And we have done it. Look at this. This is the entire Quartz Forest finished. At least the tree part, at least the end rods and all that parts. We may do some other projects within the Quartz Forest, but the trees of the Quartz Forest are finally finished. We have been working on this project for over 2 years. So I thought it'd be nice to just take a little walk around, talk about the project, talk about some of the future things that we want to do with this project, talk about some things that changed with this project over the years, and really just give you guys the whole rundown of this. And then stick around for the end, because we will be checking out the brand new greenhouse that we have built in the world. So to get right into it, this is the Quartz Forest. Now, I believe we counted on stream that there is some 264 trees throughout this entire build. Something along those lines. It is just a lot. Each tree is made entirely of quartz and end rods, and it is just a tall order. So we started this entire journey with, at first, this tree right here. This was the first tree that we ever built in the episode. We put end rods on the end of all of it. We did like the whole thing up, and this is the first tree, and you can actually see some of the differences in detail work of this. So if you look at some of the other trees around as we go through, you can kind of see how they change as we build them. So this one has a lot of these non-connecting blocks that I kind of got rid of in the future versions. Also, the style of the tree, like these are like two coming off, and the tops have all of the stairs have slabs coming off of them. But we will take a look around the forest, run around, go through how we did everything, what was the design elements that we chose. So we very quickly picked on that the trees needed to be a little bit multi-layered. The one-layer trees didn't work all the time, either with small branches or other branches. And then how we put on all of the end rods too towards the end, we realized that you couldn't really put the end rods on if it was bottom block, because it looked weird hanging off the top. So we did that as well. So coming around here, we of course moved our way through the mountains and towards this back area over here. Now, this also prevents all mobs from spawning within this biome, which is kind of fitting because of the mycelium. Now, the mycelium was a big project in itself, just getting this whole area. I used a hoe and turned all the grass into farmland, and then that farmland ended up, despawning because there's no water around it, and then turning into the grass, which the war between the grass and the mycelium was well fought. But yes, then we started heading up the mountain. You could see some of the design choices changing, a lot of smaller trees throughout here, and eventually we decided that we needed like a sapling or some sort of bush to go into this biome, and we ended up deciding on using coral. So dried coral actually matches the color palette of the biome really well. It looks like a sort of a dead bush, but not as brown. I didn't want the brown of the actual dead bush, and it works so well within this biome. Here's this tree. Coming around here, we still need to take up some of this dirt and, just stomp on it a bunch to get it back to dirt and allow the mycelium to grow over it, but that will be another date project. So we did everything around here up until the ravine, which I will tell you about our plans for this ravine in just a minute. But then we started going over here past the ravine, and these trees are all pretty uniform. There was a lot of pauses in building some of these things back and forth. And as you can see, we have our only tipped over tree right here. I thought it'd be nice to add just one or two of these. And then finally, we got to the point where I was like, you know what? I need a place to really immortalize everyone who gives me subs or bits on Twitch. I mean, even if you want to donate here at all, if you could find some way to do that on YouTube, I will definitely be putting your name on the tree of subs and donators. And I thought this whole biome needed just one big tree. And it was surprisingly easy to build, because these trees, they aren't really structurally hard to do. It's just the amount that we needed to do of them. And we did most of the tree work, almost all of it, I believe, on stream. If you were on the stream, you got to see all of our builds. We stream most mornings, 10:30 Eastern Standard Time to 1:30. And that is our little work hours where I talk to you guys, I interact, I chat. So if you want to check that out, please go check out my Twitch. If you're already in the mood to, please leave a like and subscribe to this video if you want to see more content and more cool builds like this. But yes, we just slowly made our way through the forest. How I decided the placement of the trees was to look up at the other trees, like look straight up, and when there was a gap in the sky, I decided to fill it. Now, not all of it, you know, worked out, and this side of the forest gets a lot more sparse as we go over, and I kind of like that. You know, a forest gets more dense towards the middle and sparse on the outsides. But finally, these are some of the last trees that we ever did, and you can see really proof of concept that these trees look a lot better than the ones from over there, and that's just because I've been building these for so long. And then finally, I decided to do a truly unique tree that I've never done in the Quartz Forest for the final tree that was ever built. So this was the final tree, and I did this weird spiral thing around the edges, and I just think that this is the coolest freaking build that I've ever done. This is our first attempt at biome crafting, and I do want to do more of this work in the future. Maybe not as tedious or strenuous as this, but you know, we also have the Hollow Mountain over there that we have done a lot of work on in the similar biome crafting, but this was like making a biome, and I want to do more of this stuff throughout the world. Now, part of the things that we changed over the development of this was we were originally going to have this span across here, and it just became too much work. As you can see, we have been doing this for 2 years. If you go watch the original video, there'll be a little card right there to go check out. We were supposed to cover this. We were supposed to cover this area and over there, like through it. But I just decided that it was good following the river. The river was a good little basin to protect it. Now let's jump into the future plans of this build. And one of the large scale projects that I really wanted to do to finish off this whole biome crafting of this area was I had always planned to turn this ravine into a geode. Now, this is a pretty hefty task. It's going to take a lot of crystal shards, a lot of tuff and calcite, and a lot of other blocks of materials, but I want to turn this entire ravine into a geode, and then potentially put small little pockets of amethyst around the biome. I think the colors match really well, and I think it'd be really cool to have this. Maybe even make this the Amethyst Mountain. You know, that would be pretty dang cool. But this is another project for a future video and a future build. So let's take a look at this at night, and then we'll jump right over to the greenhouse build. All right, here we are at the greenhouse build. Now, many of you are probably wondering, Seth, you never even mentioned the greenhouse build. That is because we are doing new things on our Twitch, where we are doing exclusive Twitch builds, and then we're going to show them off here, of course, but Twitch needs some builds more than just busy work. So let's take a look at this build that we have done. So this is the greenhouse. It was designed, of course, in our creative world, and it was designed with the idea that the copper would all be oxidized, but we have to wait till that happens. But this is a greenhouse build. The original greenhouse was, oh my god, look at those assholes over there. But regardless, the original greenhouse was where the pumpkin patch was, and I always hated the design and the build of it, so we ended up removing it entirely and putting a pumpkin patch there instead. So this is kind of like the new greenhouse, but it is not going to be written in the history books as, like, you know, a remodel or anything, because that build was entirely tore down and replaced with now this in a whole new area. So this is a whole new build that will be immortalized in 1.18.2. So as you come in, we chose to use copper, and this was actually a brand new block that we've never used for building wise. This is stripped warped log. It is just an absolutely amazing build. I love the greenhouse design with these side rooms. Originally we were going to do just half a room, but I decided to go all out and do a full, like we were supposed to split it here, but I decided to go all the way over. But we have a little growing area here. As you can see, we have all types of crops and plants in here, as well as these flowering azalea plants. I actually don't know the name of these. But coming throughout here, we have bees, as well as potatoes, The bees, you can see, are right here next to all the azalea trees, and they help pollinate all these crops. And then over here in this one, it's pretty much the same setup, just different crops all around, bamboo, of course. And it's really just a wonderful looking build. Now, coming out the back, I do want to show off that we decided to do this really nice azalea leaf bush all the way around, like creeping over and climbing over the build. I think it really makes the build look a lot more unique and less bland. And then we decided to go with a little path outside that's all tiled deep slate, using our tile deep slate finally as for the build, and then moss surrounding. And I do want to do more things with this area. I think that it's time for us to move more into our terraform swamp rather than, as you can tell, all the buildings in this area all face the beacon. Like all of them are facing, like that's the center of the map. And I want to kind of move that eventually out and over here, or at least start building over here to really fill out our swamp biome. But our future plans for this area, I was thinking, is to maybe have a botanical garden connected to this area, more bee farm stuff, maybe even move the bee farm or expand the bee farm out this way. Of course, that area was cleared due to where the zoo is supposed to be, so maybe we can, you know, move this along and have a path to the zoo as well. But that is going to really do it for all the new additions. I am just so excited that the Quartz Forest is finally done. We can put a stamp on that and put a sign on that saying when it was started and when it was completed, because it has been over 2 years. So, with that being said, thank you all so much for watching this video. If you haven't already, please hit that like button and the subscribe button. Also, we are doing a Through the Ages advent calendar this year, getting ready for Frost Day, because now with Jonathan gone and Herobrine, I guess, contained, we don't really have much to do for Frost Day other than just celebrate it. So please go check that out. There will be a new short a day being posted on the channel for all 24 days of Christmas, with the Frost Day special being on the 25th. So thank you so much, and I will see you guys all in the next Through the Ages. Peace out, gamers.